Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I want to do a little bit of a reading vlog. Over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be traveling quite a lot. I'm going to be heading to Berlin tomorrow to go to my graduation, and then I'm gonna go to the south of France to spend some time with family. What that calls for is a lot of time traveling. I'm going to be literally on the train for almost 20 hours, I think, in the next 2 weeks. I do have several books that I have picked up over the past few months that I've been wanting to read, so I'm going to try and read those. Hello, we are now in the south of France, and it's been a couple days since we arrived back from Berlin. Berlin was really great. I was really able to enjoy the city once again. It had been a while since I moved out of Berlin, so it was great to re-find the city and of course see all of my friends and see my family there as well. So I had a really great time there. As you can tell from my voice though, I did get a bit sick, so typical of me, but I ended up not feeling too well at the end of the trip. So even though I started My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante on the train to go from Paris to Berlin, I did not read this on my way from Berlin to Avignon, which is where I'm at right now, which was actually an 11-hour train ride, which was a fairly long ride, but I was not feeling my best and I needed something that I could read with like my 3 brain cells. So I decided to pick this book up instead and finish this. Basically, this is a Japanese book whose title can be translated as Little Red Riding Hood Encounters a Dead Body During Her Trip. Very clickbaity title, and I definitely got clickbaited, but honestly, it was fun. I read this while I was not feeling my best and it took my mind off things, so it was good. Basically, it follows the main character, Little Red Riding Hood, who is going on this trip, and she encounters like 4 cases that needs to be solved. And these cases include the characters that you would all recognize from fairy tales like Cinderella or the Sleeping Beauty. And Little Red Riding Hood goes on to solve mysteries surrounding, these characters, and that's the book. Nothing really deep, it's just a lot of lulls and different takes on the characters that we know from, our childhood. I really liked that the short stories had like some kind of connections with each other. I love when short stories do that. The writing was a bit hard to get into at first because it's written in like a fairy tale prose. So it was first like kind of weird to be reading, but you get used to it at one point, but nothing groundbreaking. So I would give this like a 3 out of 5, just like a good palate cleanser, something good to read when you're, you don't really want to use your brain too much. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I don't think that there's a translation of this book in English, but I saw that there is actually a movie that seems to be on Netflix that's called Once Upon a Crime, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're curious about this book, then you can check that out on Netflix. I am still going to be here in the south of France, and I'll have to travel back to Paris later. So I'm hopefully going to make some progress on this book, and when I make a bit more progress on this, I will let you guys know my thoughts. See you until then. So I've made some progress on My Brilliant Friend, so I'm just going to give you guys a small update. So far, I'm really enjoying this book. I think it's very unique and refreshing to read about growing up in Italy, in Naples. I've never read a book based in Italy by an Italian author, so that is super cool to read about. The childhood years and adolescence years is like the years that you really go through a lot of changes, so it's very cool to follow your characters along through those changes. What is this about? It basically starts with Elena, so the main character, at 66 years old, finding out that her best friend Lila has gone missing. But she is kind of angry that she has gone missing without a trace. And then you get flown way back in time and you see Elena at 6 or 7 years old, the first time when she met Lila. And then you just go through her childhood and her kind of almost like obsession with Lila. And then you follow her also through her adolescence years as well. I think this is more of a character study kind of book rather than a plot-driven book. So I'm curious to see how it develops throughout the 4 books. And I will keep you guys updated when I make some more progress. So I am back in Paris and I finally finished my Brilliant Friend. So I wanted to quickly pop on here to tell you my final thoughts. So I really enjoyed this book. I really loved reading this. It really depicted change that people go through over their childhood and young years very well. You see them grappling with the tension between who they were as children and who they're becoming, faced with different environments, learning new things, speaking with different people. You see these girls go through various changes in their life, and you not only see the main character changing, but you also see the main character see her friends around her changing, and you go through the exploration of their new relationship dynamic. So that was a very interesting part of the book that I really enjoyed reading about. It also really brought me back to being a child, in that even the smallest events that's going on around you feels like a world-shattering event. Like everything can seem so life-changing and so big, and I think this perspective really captured that very well. Finally, the writing style was quite unique in that it's like a person telling you about their life. So it's not really a linear and consistent pacing, like you can sometimes go back and forth. At first, I wasn't super into this writing style, but it really grew on me. It really did feel like someone was telling me about their life, and I really liked that at the end. So I think I'm going to try and pick up the next one within the year, hopefully. And I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. So that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.